So we see urbanization as a natural progression of a developing city. We've been working on a growth and development strategy in the city of Joburg. We are far down the line in terms of implementing key innovative programs that are propelling Johannesburg into a better city, a livable, sustainable and resilient city.
We were living in peace. There were toilets, bathrooms, taps, electricity. Changwa Mansions, it was a good place.
I've got a lot of experience living in this building for almost 7 years. When I found this place, it was good, it was nice with electricity and everything in it. Until the situation came bad because of the brutality of the owner of this place.
It happened out of the blue. They first switched off the electricity and then the water.
There were almost 250 people inside Chungwa Mansion that day when the police came and forcibly take out everyone. So you don't have time to take your belongings. You have no time even to take your passport.
We lost a lot of things that we had. We lost even baby clothes, and I lost my school papers and my passport. We lost everything. We had to start afresh. The lawyers of Seri, they came. They told us we are coming from Seri, we're women rights lawyers. And the South African law states that you can't chase someone outside without giving them an alternative accommodation. They can't chase you away from where you are staying and just leave you outside in the streets.
My first case as an advocate was to go to court and get that eviction reversed. In South Africa, at least in theory, evictions that lead to homelessness are unlawful. The duty to provide alternative accommodation to prevent homelessness lies with the state. But there are also duties on private landowners to exercise a degree of patience and compassion for people who have nowhere else to go.
We went to court, the High Court. It was an emergency court. We were allowed to go and see the judge 12 midnight. The judge told them to go and open the gates. Went and broke the doors, we entered.
Only 3 days after that eviction was reversed, the owner evicted the occupiers again, and we had to go back to court and have the eviction reversed again. There were, by the end of it, 7 illegal evictions, and each one had to be reversed.
Within the few hours that you're actually in court, what the owner would do would actually literally break down the walls of the building inside. By the time we come back to the building, the walls are broken down, people's property is lost. They literally broke down the staircase that joins the first floor and the second floor.
The walls had been broken, the toilets had been taken out, the pipes damaged, but people, bit by bit, started to rebuild their lives here.
At every single stage, the community showed remarkable resilience in rebuilding and trying to make the space livable again, simply because they had nowhere else to go. No matter what steps the owner took to destroy the interior of the property, he was never effectively going to be able to convince our clients that living on the streets was better. The state didn't obey the court order to provide alternative accommodation. Every time the deadline approached, every time moving day approached, the state didn't deliver and the alternative accommodation moved out of their grasp.
What clients were saying was that we have now given up. It's been 2 years. The city has been promising us that they'll relocate us. And the conditions in the building are getting worse and worse every day.
When I pass by, I ask myself, is it me who's been living in such a crazy place? It's not a good place for a human being to be staying. Nearly 30 people died in Changwa mansions because people fell at night. There was no electricity, there were no steps. So someone will slip and fall. Sometimes we had to find it in the morning, someone dead.
At least 126 people have been arrested in Johannesburg and Kimberley during Operation Fiela raids today.
It was 3 in the morning. We were arrested.
Past 3, everyone was asleep. They come, they break the doors, they force you to go out, they put you in the police van. They were targeting people without permits to stay in South Africa.
When these evictions happen, people lose all their documentation. So they could not prove their status because they don't have documentation. It was destroyed by the private property owner. They were arrested for months, and some of them actually still detained, and some of them were deported.
We had South Africans, we had people from Zimbabwe, people from Tanzania, but what happened was that everyone, including young children, were arrested.
I was arrested also with my child. He still relates every detail about that day.
Thank you. First time I special with my passports. Benza ukuthi singahlali. Bafuna ukuthi singahlali eGP. Bafuna usixosha eGP. Yabona eGP ngizwenzani.
And they were released later in the afternoon to come back to Changwa. When they came back, they found that the owner had boarded up the building, shut it down. They couldn't go back in. Again, there was another court battle to have them allowed back into the building. By the end of 2015, we then felt that it's actually time to actually bring an application to have the city held in contempt. Not only is the city in contempt, but the mayor, the city manager, and the director of housing are in contempt because they've now known about these occupiers and they've known what they must do and the steps that they must take, and they've decided not to take them. It shook the city to say, okay, now we're in trouble. Now, Mr. Mayor, we're making it your problem personally. And Mr. Mayor, you must now pay for 5,000 a day until these people have a home. There was a response, and the response was to offer them accommodation. All of a sudden, the director of housing could find a building through another city entity that could house our clients.
It was clean, it was safe, it was within walking distance of the Changhua property. There was electricity, there were showers, there were toilets, all things that had been destroyed at Changhua Mansions.
When the city first told us that they were going to relocate our clients, the first thing we did was to go there with clients and see the building and see if it's a place that would actually suit them and to be a nice place. So when they actually went there and saw that place, they didn't want to come back to Chungwa.
Today, I thank God. It's my last day to be in this bad situation. I feel good.
No, man, I think so. I just had this, I don't know, it's a nostalgic feeling, but that was like, wow, this is actually gonna happen. I have tears in my eyes, so I was like, let me call Stuart and say, this is happening. It's been 3.5 years since the city was ordered to give them alternative accommodation. And today, they will see it.
It was a very emotional process where you could see a very united community moving into their place and actually reclaiming their dignity. It was a very emotional process, I think, for me personally.
At least we get to say, for these clients, there's been a victory. They're now getting homes. And they'll be able to afford them, which is actually what our fight is about, is saying, let there be affordable rental in the inner city for everyone.
Yeah, we fell in love with the place. It's a sanctuary. Now you get a peace of mind. You sleep at night. You don't think about the police. It's a good atmosphere for the babies, for the kids who are growing up. They can play. It's quiet. I can read in peace. The rent here is very affordable. 200 per month.
The lawyers forced, you can say the lawyers forced the city to find a place for us here. And it's great what they've done. It's a very, very big victory to us, to all the Changwa mentioned occupiers.
This is a temporary accommodation, but it's a start of greater things. First of all, I have to look for a job. Then that will make me pay for my studies. Knowledge is power. With knowledge, I'm powerful. Before, we didn't have that knowledge that we can go to the lawyers, we can get human rights lawyers. That's why they were degrading us. Now we've got the knowledge. We've got some power.